Hi there, friends. I'm Scott Wakefield, lead pastor at First Christian Church of Greene County, Tennessee. And today I am with,
Michael Schubert.
and we are going to have a coffee con.
Coffee
you have
convo.
to-
Oh, dang it.
We're going to have a coffee
Coffee
convo. No, you gotta take it and hold it.
I did this well, I did this well.
You're like, Coffee Convos. For those who may not be aware, Coffee Convos is an opportunity to have a good convo with some friends and hear about the work of God in their lives. Thank you for covering with your wing. That's what they tell the young kids nowadays,
Yep.
apparently.
Next
Coffee
generation.
to your wing,
Next generation.
which is weird. Where were we? Coffee Convos is an opportunity to hear about. Oh. Are you going to do this to me the whole time? Coffee Convos is an opportunity to hear about the work of God in the lives of our friends. And we are including Michael Schubert III because you are a 2023 Team Bash Team Code Team Ball Award winner.
Whew.
3 teams there.
Keep that succinct. Yeah. Well done.
Well done. We are going through each person, couple, unprecedented. Last time we had a family
Very crazy.
who have been Team Code Award winners. I said last time a family. I think Ainsley Ford was last time. No, I'm wrong. Last time was a family. Should we start this whole thing over? Okay, let's just keep going. We're just going to plug on ahead. So you are a recipient of Team Code Ball number 3, and Team Code Maxim number 3 is something we will explain to the people and talk about in a bit. But first, let's get to know you. Who are you, Michael Schubert III? Give us some brief, basic bio.
Brief basic bio.
Brief, basic bio.
All right. So, as being the third, I am the son of Michael David Schubert II.
Can you say that so that we can understand
Oh,
you?
Michael David Schubert II.
Okay,
He
gotcha.
prefers Mike, so don't call him otherwise.
Your dad is Mike. You are Michael.
Correct.
Yes.
Mike's just too 80s. I don't know.
Hmm.
I was born in Cleveland, Ohio. I've moved around a little bit growing up, and then I spent the second half of my life, so like the last 11-ish years in Tennessee. I think it's been 11 years. Maybe more.
Yeah, I think maybe a bit more.
Maybe more. I don't know. What else is there to know about me?
Do you have a spouse?
Oh, that is important. Yes, as of March, I've been married to Caitlin, now Schubert. A little bit about her. We met in high school. We were mutually friends. We had friends. We were kind of friends, and we had all of our friends were in the same friend group. That came out super smoothly. We didn't talk a lot after high school. And then it just kind of, we hung out and we kept talking, and then we were friends, and then it just kind of one step to another. I've got a ring on my hand.
Boom. How do you take your coffee? How do you like your coffee? Do you drink coffee?
Yes, I drink a lot of coffee. I drink too much coffee. I drink it pretty much only black.
As a man should.
As a man should. But I pretty much enjoy anything with coffee or espresso in it. So
Cool.
unless it's decaf, then I'll probably shame you if I can.
As you should.
Yep.
Traditional curly or waffle fries, and why?
I think
Don't try to parse out some crazy.
probably waffle fries just because texture. I like. Plus, it's always like associated with Chick-fil-A is always fun. So
Indeed. What's your favorite restaurant?
Ooh.
This is get to know you speed round.
Skyline Chili.
What?
Yep.
For the
We bonded.
throngs of dozens out there that may not know,
I just
Skyline
became his
Chili.
favorite Michael Schubert.
Skyline Chili is a Cincinnati chili, and it's part of my growing up years, and yeah.
That was good. Cocoa belongs in chili.
Yes, it does. What's something you're really good at or know a lot about that might surprise people?
Might surprise. I know I'm learning quite a lot about beans, not just any beans, coffee beans.
Mm-hmm.
So much variety, so much interest.
Why is that?
Because I am roasting team leader at Catalyst, and so I've had to do a lot of studying as to what beans we want to sell, what appeals to the people in this region, and yeah,
Yeah, we have good beans,
we've got really good beans.
and we
It
roast
comes
them well.
we straight from the country of origin.
Yes, indeed. Team Code Awards mean that you got a football, and for those unfamiliar with the practice, it's become a tradition for us every year at the All-Church Team Bash to recognize people who exemplify the Team Code Awards by giving them a team ball. So you're a Team Bash, Team Code Award, Team Ball recipient.
Sure am.
That came out smoothly.
Also,
That game ball is signed by the staff and elders as an appreciation for your service and commitment to Team Code Maxim number 3, which is what we are highlighting today, which is we value people over policies, principles over preferences, and growth over control. Let me read what was said of you. This person was nominated about 20 times. One nomination said, "Quick, someone give this guy a football. Seriously, the guy embodies so many of the 7, maybe 3 works." He's one of the most gung-ho leaders I know, always willing to tackle the hard work and the awkward situations, no matter how well-equipped or ready he feels. I agree with that. I thought that the person who said that in that nomination and the reasons why was something where I thought, oh yeah, that's good. I think that is true. And I've seen it in a number of things. So congratulations for embracing the awkward.
thank you.
Yes,
Should we just be quiet for a second and just kind of look at each other?
that was the idea. I'm sorry I didn't come along well enough with that. That clearly was something you were looking for. He seems to effortlessly translate, I'm quoting again. He seems to effortlessly translate, this is highfalutin right here. He seems to effortlessly translate Christ's love into hands and feet service and care for others. He makes me excited and hopeful for the future of the church. That's a lovely thing to say. Another nomination said, serves in Catalyst Roasting, Kidsmen, Pillar, our young adults ministry, helps in life group. When I ask, I wonder who said this, and is a resident. He has been a very faithful servant at FCC this year in many capacities. It's clear he has come to value the incredible growth and freedom found in being a faithful member of the local body. This year's Team Code Game Ball number 3 goes to Michael Schubert III. So, what do you think about all that?
I think that serving has been one of the most impactful things I've done in my life. I think it has forced me to look at myself in a way that's like, wow, Michael, your life is quite a lot about yourself, and there's more people that need your time and effort than you.
I think that's huge for who we are as a church in some ways that I don't think a lot of people understand about how it actually works well. Now, of course, serving can be hard, can be frustrating, can mean leading in some ways that force you into uncomfortable situations, etc. No question. But what I think you just said there is what is baked into our vision and strategy. It's a piece that's baked into it that means we all understand that we are submitted to God's purposes for our lives because we're serving.
Yep.
I think that's huge.
Yeah. And anything else becomes, maybe not exclusively, but almost anything else becomes, how can I live my life apart from what Christ has in store for me? And so it means a sin. And so, not serving doesn't mean you're sinning, but living for yourself is sinning.
Yeah. It's a form of being selfish with your life's resources.
Yep.
In a way which is less than God's intent and design. Yeah. Solid. Any other generic thoughts and impressions before we ask some more specific stuff about serving? How did it feel to receive it and whatever?
Should move on.
Sorry. I said, hey, give us a general answer, and then I gave you a specific question. So, specific questions. What are some things you've learned? You've already named some of this, but what are some things you've learned about yourself, about the world, about the Lord, about others in serving? What have you learned?
That would be what I mentioned is the big takeaway is how easy it is to be wrapped up in my own life, how easy it is to not care for others meaningfully, in ways that look like not devoting time, energy, effort,
Hmm.
frustration, be willing to be frustrated, be willing to be uncomfortable for the sake of eternity.
Yeah. Serving is fun. Serving is hard. What are some ways it's been fun and there's been joy in it and you've seen some cool things happen? And what are some ways that's been hard and those hardships have been a piece of your growth as well?
Fun is easy. Fun has been a pillar. I mean, it is like my highlight of my week is getting to hang out with young adult guys and laugh with them and poke fun and just be like have brothers and have like 20 of them with you hanging out, all intentional, all in various stages of spiritual growth, but all like on fire for Jesus, which is incredible, and that's fun.
Especially in a world where that's not normal for
No, not normal at all.
20-something guys.
No, and so it's super cool to see like
Yeah.
these guys are all going to have big impacts for the Lord in wherever they go, and it's cool being a part of seeing them grow into that.
Yeah.
Like big impacts. It's gonna be cool to see.
What are some hard things about serving?
Balancing time, which means that other stuff's got to get cut out. Like the limitation of only having 24 hours in a day, and 6 to 8 of those need to be sleep, and some of those need to be devoted to time with wife and time with family and
You bet.
eating and and then just like getting 8 to 10 hours of work in every day. It's just challenging,
Yeah, all that is a lot.
and so it puts stressors on what do I not do well and what because I just can't do all of it well.
Mm-hmm.
So
You've
that's,
tried.
That's not fun. Yeah, I've tried
You've been involved in
every ministry except for tech.
just about everything. Question about the team code maxim number 3 in specific terms. We talk about valuing people over policies, principles over preferences, and growth over control. What are some ways you've seen that work out, valuing people, focusing on principles, and having growth be the goal in one's serving, and being with people and not your personal management and control stuff? What are some ways you've seen that work in ministry?
Learning that everyone's different, which is obvious. It's clear. We all know it. But
Theoretically, yeah.
Theoretically, we
Right.
all know it. But just learning that everyone's at different phases of life, and God's got plans for them. Not all when you want them to be at their peak performance to serve, and so you've got to be willing to roll with those punches and still love them and still be gracious even when they let you down. Is that a good answer?
Yeah. Is that a good answer?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a fantastic answer. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's important. And I think that's some of the flexibility built into those things in Team Code Maximum number 3. I don't think we use the word flexibility
It's a good word.
in our team code,
Might be relevant.
but it would be a good one to somehow add in there. But this Maximum number 3 gets to that idea of flexibility being important in ministry and serving with people for the sake of the growth of the whole, for their growth, for the people they're ministering to, etc.
Which implies that you're trusting God to make these decisions in His timeline as opposed to your timeline, which is a big thing. Otherwise, you're still living for your own ministry and then your own self and your own goals, as opposed to being submissive to the goals that God has for you and for them in
How
your
have you seen
relationship.
that play out for you?
How has that played out for me?
Yeah.
I want every young adult to be reached through our ministry in Greene County. Like there's only a couple ministries, one at another church and then another one at Tusculum College, and so there's just not a ton of outreach for young adults. Not that
Informal terms.
Yeah, informal terms. And so I would love for our ministry to be able to reach out to all of them. And so that means I'm wishing that some of our guys were, I don't know, willing to take some more uncomfortable steps, awkward steps, that I should be trusting in the Lord that He's working on their hearts to take those steps, and not me like go 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 go, because that's my mission. That would be putting ministry into my terms as opposed to God's terms.
So the flexibility to
Wait on the Lord.
wait on the Lord in ways that mean that you have to sometimes hold back.
Yeah.
And also, I think some of what you're saying is the implication is the moving forward part is seeing what God's really actually doing in people's lives. So the flexibility to think that way about how we're serving. It's good.
It's a better summary.
I don't know. Maybe not. Yours was pretty good. I was just trying to put it into, so that we can move on to this question. Like this, in serving, who has been a mentor or an example, and some people that you've served with who helped you learn some things that you've been working with, that you've watched and gone, hey, I can do it like that. That's good. Those kinds of things. Who have been some of those people for you?
I would say first, maybe not first, but a big one has been Nathan Dickerson,
Mm-hmm.
because he pushes himself hard to do everything very, very well,
Mm-hmm.
and serves in a lot of different capacities, and serves Catalyst really, really well in a lot of different ways. And so I've realized that there's more that could be done as opposed to being satisfied with a little bit and then sitting down. So that's been helpful.
So the motivation to do things in ways that are excellent and glorify God because the work is thorough and done well.
Yeah, and there's always like there's more to do. Like I think it's easy for people to be, I did something and I'm kind of tired, and so I'm satisfied with what I did.
So not being complacent.
Not being complacent. There's being like the Lord has a higher calling for my life, and so I'm going to fulfill that to the utmost energy that I have.
Yeah.
Which I think He does really, really well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. For sure.
What was the question again? You said they're what mentors?
Mentors, examples for serving, for ministry, for your involvement in ministry and serving. Yeah. Whomever and however that looks.
Dad serving and loving his wife, my mother, really, really, really well, has been a wonderful example for me, and how I treat Caitlin and how I love the young adult guys and Biller.
Indeed. That's good. Yeah. And I like that you named that, because I said ministry, I said serving, which we could talk about in Kidsman, Pillar, and a whole bunch of places where you have served, where you do serve. At Catalyst, in roasting and leading the team.
Region.
Sure. But you talked about how your parents' relationship modeled the heart of that in some ways.
Yeah, the heart.
That have tentacles into all those other things.
Yep, for sure. And like, you just named all those things, but I need to keep in my head that the ministry that I need to prioritize first and foremost is my marriage. So that would be, we talked about ministries with names, but this would be the foremost of my ministries.
Indeed. How has being involved in serving in church changed you personally?
I think the pride and humility, for sure. The dynamic between those is one that I just amplified my desire to be humble, because I realized that pride is destructive and not healthy in my relationships and with myself, and just in pretty much every way.
Yeah. Give us some give us some practical handles on that. Like, how has, like, in this kind of situation, serving in this ministry in this way, doing this kind of thing, a one-time thing, or many times, whatever it is, some practical handles on how that's doing ministry and serving has taught you that.
Because just like sitting in the back is comfortable and it's easy and it doesn't require much, and I can, when I need to, or not need to, when I want to, I can zone out, veg out, whatever. And that's gets me nowhere. Like, I'm still in the same spot as when I sat down. But leading, being part of multiple ministries has forced me to grow for the sake of being an example of other people, for the sake of like not leading out of my flesh. All those simple parts of me forced me to make sure that scripture and prayer and mature mentors are the only thing that's leading me, so that what's coming out of me is not that flesh. Otherwise I'd just be sitting in the back and be comfortable, and the flesh that's in me would still be the only thing that's speaking.
Yeah, I like to think about, and there are plenty of people who are part of us in our church that, like, they may be new, they're not yet serving. That's normal.
Right.
But at a certain point, you can become the person that stays at disengaged and functionally is just being a consumer.
Yep.
That's kind of how I like to think about it. So how do you experience when you're serving in ministry, wherever it is, how do you experience what is encouraging and helpful for when you're being a contributor? Because being a contributor, I mean, let's face it, it's not easy. It takes work. Even if it's, yes, I will look at the schedule and go, yes, I can do this, opening the door and saying hi to people and smiling and handing them a bulletin, shaking hands, going out with an umbrella, like, as relatively easy in mechanical terms as that kind of stuff. What has been helpful and encouraging as you're serving? Because being a contributor can be hard, even if it's the easiest basic stuff.
But I think this is relevant to a sermon that you had recently. Is taking us. Oh, phew, this guy's good. Taking a step back and seeing the fruit that has come of the labor, and realizing that the effects that's going to have into eternity, that God has used through the work that I've done. And so it's not fruitless. It's not pointless. It's not just shook a lot of hands today, but I'm tired. But it's like the people that I've meaningfully connected with and challenged and loved on it's going to have ripples in eternity because of the work that has changed in their life and that they're going to do in other people's lives that may or may not have happened if I wasn't faithful in the situations God had put me in.
Well, you wouldn't have received the encouragement of those opportunities if you weren't there. That much is clear. That's obvious. I know it sounds simple, but there are so many times I want to say to people, the encouragement of being among the body and serving is not going to be there for you if you're not serving. It's just not going to. So you can be disengaged and sit. Sorry, all people who sit in the back row. I don't mean to say this like this is you sitting in the back row.
One of my best friends only sits in the back, and he's pretty engaged.
Yes, he certainly is. It is easy to be disengaged in a way that means we will not see how things really work and experience the encouragement of the body working and being with others on the same team. So not only are you getting the encouragement of the people to whom you're ministering, but the people with whom you're ministering. Over time, there's a lot of this camaraderie of team that happens in a whole bunch of cool ways.
For sure.
That will not happen if you're not on the team.
Yep. Absolutely.
Good stuff. Anything else you want to say about how it's changed you personally, thinking about yourself, your plans for life, etc.?
That I could not serve the church enough and be like, that was too much. Like, it's so beautiful being part of the body of Christ.
Agree. Totally. When you see the body when it really works well, you're like, it actually is beautiful. So good. Stop it. You're going to get me going. Last two questions. We always ask people, what is God currently teaching you, and what are you excited or encouraged about? So, what is God currently teaching you?
He is teaching me a lot of things. He's teaching me that his way really is best, which I think saying out loud is silly to some people because it's like maybe the first thing you hear becoming a Christian, growing up in Sunday school as a little kid. However, as someone who's just recently left my parents' auspices, I see consequences in real ways that affect myself and my new family, and see how the Lord really is omniscient and he really does know what's best, and being submissive to that really has the best outcome, even though it is certainly not the easiest.
Yeah. Submitting oneself in an all-encompassing, all of life kind of way to Christ as Lord in one's life, submitting oneself to that is not easy.
Nope.
But it is good, and
Certainly.
it is better, and it is best, and it is where joy is actually found. So, yeah, it sounds simplistic to say, like, God's way is better. Solid. So, what are you excited or encouraged about?
As someone
Sermon.
Sunday sermon, always good. Never fallen asleep in one.
In the last month or so, at least.
Yeah, it's been at minimum a week. As someone who's really involved in our young adult ministry, it is so cool to see where the Lord has taken the young adult guys. There is a passion for growth and for service and for challenging each other to not be content with sin. And so, like, some of my toughest conversations from the guys that I'm leading are like, how have you addressed the sin that you talked about last week, this week? Like, what steps have you taken? You talked about next steps. What has that been? I'm like, oh, yes, it's good. It's painful, but it's good.
Yeah.
Because I know they're thinking about that for themselves too. And then they're having those conversations with other people, and submission to God's will. And it is so cool to see from 2 years-ish ago to where these guys are now.
Yeah. Solid. Good stuff. Thank you for convoing.
Yeah, don't click to that.
Coffee convoing.
I'll click to that. Yes.